needed a little bit of freshness, and Prandelli was the man to provide it. And up to now, his record's been excellent. I spoke about what happened in 2010, and the manner in which they qualified for this tournament was excellent. They had a good goals for record, conceded very little. Well, they've got this ability that I touched on this now, to change from a back four to a back three, and that's why it's difficult for England to prepare against this team. I think England, rightly so, have been concentrating on what they're going to do, and that's what they'll be doing this week. What they'll learn from this is probably very little. If Pirlo comes on, of course, they know that Pirlo is probably the only world-class player in this team. They know where he's going to play, and they can't afford him the amount of time and space and the amount of possession of the ball that they did 2 years ago when they played in the Euros against him. I think it's absolutely vital that they get somebody to engage Pirlo and to try and prevent him from pulling the strings. If you can stop Pirlo, then it takes away a huge void in the Italian squad.
Great. More from Trevor at half-time. Let's go to our commentators, Gary Birtles and Gary Weaver.
Thank you, George. The world is ready. The doors to the greatest show on earth are about to open up. This is the centre of the planet for the next month. Almost every competing nation has now arrived, all with their eyes fixed on that gold trophy, which means the world. Italy have been here since Friday, but they're not yet ready to show their true face. Roy Hodgson may have shown his hand last night, but Cesare Prandelli is keeping his cards close to his chest with the team that he has named this evening. As for Fluminense, it's a huge honour for the club to host the 4-time world champions. Fluminense are the club which brought football to Rio. They're the oldest club in the capital, and there were many who went on record saying football would never catch on in Rio. Slight misjudgment. They were formed by the son of an Englishman, while a Scouser's goals help put the club on the map. And here tonight, it's a big, big night in Rio State for Fluminense. But Italy have the opportunity here to show that they have strength in depth. It's not the first choice 11 by any means, but as George and Trevor have alluded to, Cesare Prandelli is giving his squad players a chance from the off, and one, maybe two of their players have a chance of starting against England in Manaus, particularly in the fullback area. That man there, Abate, playing for his place tonight. And on the other side, Matteo Darmian, who is operating at left back for Italy tonight. He too could make the cut in Manaus. The captain is Alberto Aquilani for Italy. So this then is the Italian starting 11. As I mentioned, mainly squad players here tonight, but the likes of Abate and Darmian possibly playing for their places next week. And keep an eye out too for Alessio Cerci. He has an outside chance of being in the Italian starting 11. And Ciro Immobile was Serie A's leading scorer this season. Those 22 goals have just won him a move to Borussia Dortmund. As for Fluminense, they're without Fred, who's part of Brazil's World Cup squad. So Walter, who was back up to Falcao at Porto, leads their line. Dario Conca is the man who makes things happen for them. He used to earn more money than Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo not so long ago. He's an Argentinian who can have magic in his boots. As for the temperature, it's 29 degrees, touching 29 degrees at kickoff in Manaus. Right now it's 31 degrees, but the big thing about Manaus, the big difference, Gary, is the humidity that both Italy and England will face.
Well, I've played in those sort of conditions before. I remember Nottingham Forest, we played in Miami, and there were electrical storms, and it's the worst conditions I've ever played in. It was 0-0, it was the worst game of football you've ever seen. You could hardly move, but fans had paid the money, we had to play, but the conditions were horrendous.
Less than 1 week to go until Italy cross England's path. No more rehearsals after this. It will be down to business. And when it means business for Italy, they usually do the business. They don't do friendlies very well, we know that. Tonight they're up against this Fluminense team who are looking to make a name for themselves on the international stage tonight. Referee has got the thumbs up. And the atmosphere is crackling here. We are 80 miles away from Rio, in Rio State. And before the game gets underway, both sets of fans and players pay their respects to Fernandao, who was killed in a helicopter crash yesterday. A former Internacional player and Marseille player, cruelly taken from us. So away we go. This is it, final rehearsal for Italy. Surprised by the team Cesare Prandelli has picked tonight?
Slightly, but you can understand it. A week to go, you don't want to risk any more injuries. Very easy to pick them up. Players sometimes pull out of challenges, and that's the worst possible thing you can do. You get hurt more when you do that. So it's a difficult one for any coach a week before this big competition opens up.
There's Ranocchia, who is on Italy's standby list. He's not part of the 23, but because Barzagli has been struggling with a fever and an ankle injury, Ranocchia is still here. And this is Lorenzo Insigne on the move, but he's offside.
He was offside, but big gap there for him to run into. It's got to be a concern early on for the home team. Be interesting to see how they approach it. Look at the line they hold there, very, very high up. Not a lot in it.
Well, Italy's send-off party fell flat against Luxembourg on Wednesday, drawing 1-1. It was ranked as one of their worst ever international results, standing alongside their 1966 World Cup defeat by Korea. By their own admission, when it comes to friendlies, they're not usually at their best. They are a tournament team.
Yeah, but you do wonder about Italian football at the moment. Juventus won the title, and there were 45 and 42 points respectively in front of Inter and Milan. And that's unbelievable, that many points against two fantastic teams like that.
Aquilani. There's Ciro Immobile, leading light in Serie A last season, with this man playing behind him, Giorgio, who's playing out wide tonight. Those two rip defenders apart for Torino in Serie A, and the season just gone. Immobile's got his big move to Borussia Dortmund. Giorgio could be next out of the door.
But tonight, for these players in Italy shirts, it's all about tweaking Prandelli a little bit, isn't it? Saying, look, I'm going to put a show on here. I'm going to show you that I might just have a little bit of a chance of getting into your starting 11. It's pointless being out there if they don't do that.
It's Cristobal, the Fluminense coach, one-time Brazilian international. Gum. This is Giorgio. Now Gian. Giorgio. There's Gustavo. Now Gian, who, like Conca, further ahead of him, can make things happen for Fluminense. There's Gustavo, watched by Abate.
Well, they're certainly up for it. Fluminense moving it about very well there, keeping possession well. Pass and move. Might just be a good test for Italy this evening.
Immobile looking for the run. There's clubmate Giorgio, or his former clubmate as it is now. It's been quite a week for Immobile. Got married, was named in the World Cup squad, had his first start for Italy, and got his big money move to Borussia Dortmund.
Where could it all go wrong?
Trebled his wages by all accounts. Here is Immobile. Thiago Motta. This is Ranocchia. All countries have up until 24 hours before their first game to name any replacements. Ranocchia, as I mentioned, is on the standby list, and look at the space here, but he's offside. This time it was Matteo Darmian who was caught.
Well, that's twice in the first 5 minutes. Big gap has appeared on that left-hand side. Fortunately for Fluminense, the flag went up on both occasions, just went a little bit too early. Looking across at the Lions lady there.
What we should see tonight from Italy is how easy they move from a back four to a back three when they have possession. Thiago Motta will move into defence when they have the ball, freeing up the fullbacks, just as De Rossi should do, should he play that role against England, which is highly likely next week. Stretching was Domian. Again, moving the ball out wide, and this is Churchy, faced by Giorgio. Churchy, who is very left-footed. Immobile almost onto the end of that. Gunn made sure that the shutters came down. Bruno. Looking for Walter, who is easily beaten to it. There goes Ciro Immobile again. Insigne to his right. Insigne. Thiago Motta. That's Aquilani. And there's space on this near side for Italy. Felipe, the man in goal tonight for Fluminense. Insigne with that corner kick.
It's the sort of quality you want from set pieces. Whipped in with quality and pace. Ready to attack it.
Nokia waiting in the same spot again. And a miscue in the end. Alarm bells are ringing at the back there for Fluminense, and Immobile didn't catch hold of it.
No, he fluffed his lines totally here. Takes up a good position, pulls up the defender, goes to volley it and gets it horribly wrong. And it's moments like that when you're in a game like this, when you're trying to impress the manager and it goes wrong like that, you feel a little bit of a fool. That's the pressure at the highest level. Things can go wrong when you try a little bit too hard.
Well, he's a player who wasn't even in the top 50 list of players in Italian football last season. He really has pushed on this campaign, Immobile. This is Gian. Giorgio finding Carlinhos. Giorgio again. And Conker, the Argentinian, top his sleeve here. Very skillful player. Walter. This is Gian. Now Giorgio. Perrin called into action for the very first time tonight.
They're impressive when they're in possession. Fluminense, they move it quickly. It's 1 and 2 touches. That doesn't give the opposition any chance to close down very quickly. They created a really decent opportunity here. Goes to side foot it, full stretch there, just a crept in.
Taya Perrin made sure it didn't. Italy conceded from a corner kick against Luxembourg in Perugia on Wednesday night. That was their downfall. The ball had just been swung out of play, so it will be a goal kick and a waste there for Fluminense.
People talk about they're not very good in friendlies, but the last 7 games, drawn 6 and lost 1. I don't think nowadays you can flick that switch in a friendly and then expect to get it right when you come to a big, well, the biggest tournament in world football. It's a dangerous game to play.
They play themselves into trouble there. Here's Volta, the man on loan from Porto.
It's nice to see Fluminense up for it, prepared to give Italy a bit of a game. The early stages are anything to go by.
Well, they are challenging at the top of the Brazilian Championship, albeit early days. The Championship is now on hold while the world comes to visit Brazil.
So it's a dangerous game to play. Fluminense, high line. They've caught Italy 3 times already, but you feel that they will learn. Look again, just step up. 3 within 10 yards of each other, and they do catch Italy off again. The assistant on the far side, she's had a good start. They've been close.
Chiellini. There's Gum. Conca. This is Fabrizio. Immobile. There's Domian. One of the 3-0 contingent in this Italian starting 11.
I'm actually looking forward to seeing Italy play that system you're talking about, where one drops in to make a 3 at the back and the full-backs bomb on. It's all right in friendlies and warm-up games. When you're playing the best in the world, have you got the bottle to do it on a consistent basis? It'll be very interesting to see.
He played 3 different systems during the game against Luxembourg on Wednesday. Cesare Prandelli. He is keeping England guessing.
I think England have just got to concentrate on what they do. They do play a young side, which I'd like to see. They play with no fear. They'll close down quickly. Young legs will come into play, I'm sure.
But a very assured debut for Italy against Spain back in March. Abate. It's Ranocchio. Now, difficult it is for him right now. He's part of the squad, but if Barzagli recovers, then more than likely he'll be on his way home.
He's not very composed in the early stages of the game. Prepared to have it, bring it out. Pretty comfortable so far. Well, cracking atmosphere, isn't it? No surprise in Brazil. Always a magnificent atmosphere.
It worked this nicely, and this is Bruno. He's managed to deliver that cross looking for Volta, who was matched stride by stride by Paletta.
That's terrific by Bruno. Reason being, he gets that ball in early. He doesn't take an extra touch. There, he skips away. Now, just has a quick look up, puts it in early, makes Italy defend. It's good attacking play from the full-back.
Bruno again. Blocked by Pirlo. Well, these set pieces will be a test for Italy. I mentioned that Luxembourg's goal came from a corner in the 1-1 draw. They've not been at their best defending set pieces, the Italians.
I'm sure that's something gone down in the notepad of Roy Hodgson.
By Conca, and easy for Matteo Perry.
It's disappointing, that. And so's that.
Well, Conca is definitely better than the free kick he just delivered.
He's not meant to put it in the goalkeeper's hands, but you've got to keep it away from him. Give your teammates a chance to attack it.
Gian. There's Conca once more. Nice feet again from Bruno. No way through this time.
His problem early in the game has been the space that's been on his side of the pitch, where Italy nearly got in a couple of times, but been narrowly given offside. Going forward, he looks okay, Bruno, but maybe not so good defensively.
It's not Italy's strongest team tonight. Cesare Prandelli did say at the start of this run of 3 friendlies that he would mix things up in each game, so we're expecting a stronger team than this tonight. I just wonder what kind of effect Ricardo Montolivo's injury had on Prandelli's thinking coming into this, and what's happened since to the likes of Marco Reus and Frank Ribery, whose World Cup dreams have been snatched away in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, you're bound to think of things like that and take it into consideration. You look at Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. Massive doubts when he went down, but thankfully he's staying with the squad. Looks like he's missing the first game against Italy, but those things can happen, sometimes innocuous. It's bound to put you off playing your leading lights out there.
Montolivo expected to be out for 4 to 6 months after breaking his leg at Fulham's Craven Cottage against the Republic of Ireland last week. Conca. Here's Gustavo. Walter again looking to link play. Conca picks up the baton.
I'm quite impressed with Fluminense in these early stages. They are prepared to have a go. They are prepared to do the right things and move the ball quickly and unsettle Italy.
Darmian. Many were surprised when Darmian was named in the provisional squad, let alone the actual 23. He's come from nowhere. Matteo Darmian, who played a right back against the Republic of Ireland last week, the man from Torino. Time to dwell for Insigne.
When you talk about injuries, you just have to ask Trevor Francis about injuries. Remember before the European Cup against Hamburg, running down the touchline, snapped his Achilles, nobody near him, and missed that second European Cup final. Things can happen as easily as that, unfortunately.
Barolo. Ranocchia. There's Insigne. His inclusion has caused a bit of a storm in Italy, with Giuseppe Rossi being left out despite playing against the Republic of Ireland last week. Prandelli didn't think he was fit enough, mentally or physically. Rossi's had his say, so too has his grandfather, and Toto Scalacci also can't believe that Giuseppe Rossi hasn't been taken to the World Cup.
Your fitness used to be what you look at and how you see it as a manager and, you know, a coach. Now it's done on stats and things like that. The amount of yards you run, all those sorts of things come into the equation now. So it's a difficult one, but as you say, in Italy, not gone down particularly well.
Prandelli's thinking was, what would it be like for Rossi if he took a hit on that knee injury, that knee problem he's had for 4 months? And Rossi tweeted saying, well, maybe I should have been a little bit slower, less sharp, took a hit, and then they've got to the World Cup.
Yeah, but you can say that about anybody. A player who's massively fit and is absolutely the top of his game, all it takes is to get your boot caught in the turf and your ligaments can go. Anything, you can't judge things like that. Again, we talk about this high line, and Again, there's not much in that. Yeah, good decision. Flag goes up. I think Italy have got to have a look at this back line and say, right, let's arc our runs a little bit. It's a little bit too direct.
Bolinios. There's Fabrizio. Conca. Bruno, who's looked lively so far down the right-hand side of Fluminense. Jan.
We expected to see Abate and Darmian get forward a little bit more than they've done, but it's Bruno who's catching the eye on that right-hand side going forward for the home team.
There's Bruno. Goal head of Thiago Motta, now Aquilani. There's Churchy.
Howling derision around the ground. Home fans didn't think that was a free kick. Might have a point.
Thiago Motta. Barolo. Italy looking to keep a hold of the ball here, protect it. Very much what they'll have to try and do, as will England in Manaus. They've been patient, and here's Immobile, and they worked it brilliantly. Lorenzo Insigne with the finish. But Italy plant their flag on Brazilian soil. They have arrived.
Well, how very unselfish there, Immobile. I just mentioned about trying to catch Fluminense out, try and get behind them. They're keeping that line, very straight line. And that's right on the edge again. That's unselfish. Lays it on a plate for Insigne. Couldn't miss from there. And again, there's that gap, and they exploit it, Italy. Perfectly weighted ball, keeper's drawn out, little tap across there, and Insigne won't have an easy opportunity to get himself a goal than that.
The boy from Naples has stepped up for Italy, thanks to a big assist from Immobile.
So I was talking about timing the run better when you've got a team playing an offside as well as the home team have in the early part of this game.
Barolo. And Churchy and Immobile trying to remain onside. Big moment there for Lorenzo Insigne, the man who we mentioned before. Got in ahead of Giuseppe Rossi into the Italian World Cup squad of 23. Simple task to put the ball in the net, but he was there.
Exactly, you've got to be there to tap that in.
Here he is again. Quite welcome the ball in.
The thing is with Insigne, he'll know the comments are flying around on social networks and things like that, that they don't think he should be there, that Rossi should be there. And that can have a massive effect on a player, but you've got to try and put that to one side and just concentrate on what you do when you're out there, when you get the opportunity. He's done his chances no harm at all there.
A certain Diego Maradona is a big fan of his. Ranocchia. Now it's Conca. Fluminense looking to respond here. Conca, Gustavo. Laid on the plate. And Fluminense level. Chiellini racing in to apply the finishing touch. Italy were ahead for barely minutes, then they were opened up. And Chiellini with a moment to remember. A goal against Italy.
And he gambles that the ball is going to come into that area. The delivery's a cracker. But it was all too easy to break Italy down there. It looked an easy finish, but I'll tell you what, when you watch this again, good bit of individual flair there, put across the face of the goal. There, he's got to come in there, and he's got to concentrate, keeping that ball down, just get it on target. And they're sometimes the ones you miss, where you think, right, I'm going to score here. You've got to be fully concentrated, which he was. Just didn't try and attack it too hard. Gets himself the equaliser. Okay, the build-up for Fluminense has been particularly good the first 25 minutes or so. They've kept possession well, they've moved that defence around a little bit. They got the just rewards there.
Italy's lead lasted 2 minutes and 46 seconds before they were carved open.
Well, very sloppy there.
Giorgio. This is Immobile. Insigne again is in the middle. Cuts out by Gum, who had to get to that. Gustavo. This place is rocking.
I'll tell you what a cracker we've got in our hands here. It's been so entertaining so far. And the crowd have made it fabulous. Hey, the tournament's not even started yet.
Well, there may well be 32 competing nations here, but to Brazilians, the rest are just extras. Brazil are the stars of the show in this nation. They say that you're born with a ball at your feet. Not just wanting and hoping Brazil to win the World Cup, they are expecting it.
Because of the fantastic history, the pressure on the current crop of players is always going to be there for Brazil.
There's Gum. Conca. Looking for Gustavo.
See what's been impressive from Fluminense in the first half an hour or so is the fact that they won't just kick it when they've got the chance at the back. They're comfortable on the ball, they'll try and play it out from the back. That's causing problems for Italy.
England have landed in their Rio base today. Imagine we'll have some eyes on this just to see what kind of shape Italy are going with. You won't be getting any signs in terms of personnel. That's Insigne. One of those who could start against England next week. Thiago Motta. Barolo. Insigne beaten to the punch.
Insigne scored his goal so long ago. He was in the box again, he was prepared to get in there. Didn't come to him, but he still got himself in a really good position.
Now Pirlo. Insigne with the free kick and headed in beautifully. Ciro Immobile shows just what he can do, and Italy hit the front again.
Well, Immobile set one up for Insigne, vice versa. Terrific ball delivered there by Insigne. So difficult to defend that sort of delivery. Whipped it with pace. Able to beat defenders, and you just need a feather touch. It certainly is that. Look at the quality there. Once you know where the goal is, it's a little touch, there's his movement, not extravagant, just a glance and not a chance for Felipe there. The quality that gives him the opportunity just to get that touch. I see many better headers than that. It might have just been a deflection, he'd flicked it. The delivery, first class.
With his debut Serie A last season, Ciro Immobile. Borussia Dortmund just have had further confirmation of what they have bought for their money. You do look at this Italian starting 11 tonight and wonder if they get the chance who may make an impact, and the two names that spring to mind are Immobile and Giorgio.
Without a doubt. That's all they can do, the players out there. They can just prod Prandelli, say, right, look at me, I've done this today. Here's another foul throw, right off the floor, given.
Insigne. Straight to Chiellini. There's Conca. Flattened, Conca, lovely feet, and again, and again. It's what the Argentinian can do, and Paletta went in bravely.
The referee's given a free kick. It's a diving header, you're entitled to go for that as an opponent with your foot. Put a decent ball in, throws himself out. You're entitled to go for that. That's not a foul for me. I don't think he caught him.
Before, it was only a few years ago that Dario Conca was earning more money than the likes of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo when he was playing his football in China. Second spell at Fluminense.
That's staggering, isn't it? Go to China and learn more than Messi and Ronaldo.
There's Ranocchia. Insigne. Pulled off the ball by Gustavo. Fabrizio. Chiellini. Well, they're all trying the tricks now.
The referee thought he was going to have a comfortable evening. Kick again. Giorgio judged to have clipped his opponent.
Trying to organise that back four. This time it was Giorgio who was fouled.
problems.
Immobile. There's Pirlo. Who's idle, he says, is Steven Gerrard.
Prandelli will have looked at this first half so far and seen his two strikers up front score one and make one. If you're looking to impress the manager, you've done it in the first half by scoring one and creating one for your mate. It's not a bad start, and Prandelli will see that. He may be able to bring them two on at any given time to cause a problem for any opposition. That's the beauty of a game like this. He can see things like that that will help him.
His number one striker going into the World Cup is still Mario Balotelli. A bundle of trouble and talent. Conco kept the ball in play despite the protestations of Cesare Prandelli, and Fluminense turning on the style here.
Well, most impressive player for me going forward has been Bruno from right back. He's full of himself.
They're not lacking confidence, are they? And they've burst through here, and they've got a second equaliser. Cesare Prandelli can only watch and shake his head. Chiellini bursting forward, and he found the finish. Perrin couldn't keep it out, and Fluminense have hit back at Italy again.
Well, you have to question the goalkeeper there. You're looking to make an impact, and that's not the way to do it. Trying to save that more like Reggie Perrin, I think there. That was awful from the goalkeeper. But again, you've got to give them credit. Pass and move, takes it with the outside of his foot, takes it early. But you have to do better at this level than that. There, pass, move, gets it back. There, his left foot. Goalkeeper just has to do a lot better than that. Look at the surge into the box there. When he gets in there, low back lift, keeps it on the floor, around the goalkeeper's feet. Goalkeepers don't like that. But you still feel he could have done better.
Well, Dino Zoff says Mattei Perrin is the heir to Buffon's throne. It's a moment to remember there for the 21-year-old.
It's just been a thoroughly enjoyable watch this first half.
Home fans are enjoying it.
The home players are enjoying it.
Fluminense do play their home games here from time to time. They also play their home games at the Maracanã as well, which is otherwise engaged for a month or so. Looking for Gustavo.
It's relentless coming forward, aren't they? Fluminense. Fullbacks especially have been impressive. Every opportunity they get, they're on the bike, they're joining in. They want to be part of this, and it's been impressive.
Ranocchia. Gustavo. Fabrizio. He made his debut in the last game against Internazionale for Fluminense. Ended in a 1-1 draw. The fans haven't been too happy with the last couple of performances, and when they're unhappy, they make it known. They've been known to invade training sessions before, the Fluminense fans. They enjoyed that. Gian with that flick.
I don't think he meant that. That bobbled. That bobbled.
least he didn't take a bow. Good. Jan. There's Bruno, who's Fluminense tiptoe forward again. Oh, such an iconic club in Brazil, the oldest club in Rio, Fluminense. The club which brought football to the Brazilian capital. They're enjoying themselves here tonight against the 4 times world champions.
If you can't turn up and express yourself against an Italian team, albeit the second string, you don't deserve to be playing. They've certainly stepped up to the mark and they're impressing the fans. And impressing me.
Which is always a tough ask.
Andrea.
Gustavo. Chiellini.
I can't remember one long ball being played by Fluminense so far. Everything's been pulled out from the back, passed along the floor. Movement been good, the support for the man on the ball's been good.
You can see that Cesare Prandelli barking out his instructions, trying to get some kind of movement from his Italian side. What will concern him at the moment?
How easy it is for the home team to keep possession and create gaps in that back four.
Giorgio unable to find Immobile.
I don't think he'd be happy with how much the fullbacks have got forward with relative ease to cause them all sorts of problems.
Feel the stadium rise up every time Dario Conca picks up possession.
Again, there you saw the defender would have been easy to panic and just launch it. No, he's prepared to hold it, wait till he saw a pass on, made the pass, gets it back, switches play. Impressive.
Chiellini. Immobile. Looking for some support. Domian. There's Thiago Motta. Just had a tasty challenge with Gustavo a few seconds ago. Pirlo. Insidia. There's Paletta, the one-time Liverpool defender. Colani rolling that ball through. And it dipped. Ended up wide from Abate.
Good challenge in the end. Deny it, but again, it's good movement. The ball was beautifully weighted. Colani this time just cuts it in. Side of the full-back. There, what a good challenge that was to deny Abate.
Insidia. Chiellini making sure Pirlo couldn't get to that.
The tempo of this first 45 minutes has been absolutely superb. The temperature may be up there, but it just shows you how fit these players are now, how well programmed they are to stand up to heat and everything that's thrown at them.
Italy having problems in friendly matches again. They just can't shake off Fluminense. Twice Italy have been in the lead through Insigne and Immobile. Twice the Brazilian club side have hit back through Chiellini and Carlinhos. Quite a first half in the state of Rio. At the break, it's Fluminense 2, Italy 2.
In the second half, he knows full well that it's not going to be anywhere near the starting lineup that's going to play against England. So what he's got to guard against, of course, is not guard against, but what he's got to hope for is that there's not going to be any serious injuries, because that's, you know, a problem for all managers. And there's been enough in the last sort of week, 10 days, you know, with players having to pull out of the World Cup. He doesn't need that at this moment, Prandelli, because he's got a fit squad.
Selfishly, though, I'd love to see Pirlo come on. What a player to watch.
Well, it's the type of game that would suit him, because it's a very open, expansive type of game. You know, pressing hasn't been great. Players have been allowed to play, have been allowed to express themselves. Players have had time on the ball. Hence the reason why it's an enjoyable game to watch. And I just hope it continues in the second half, because we've seen 4 goals and we'll probably see more in the second half. But of course, you know, if Pirlo and Balotelli were to enter, then it would bring a little bit more fantasy, a little bit more flavour to the game, because you're talking about players here with great flair and great technical ability.
It's a good crowd in Volta Redonda as well. They're certainly enjoying it. Let's go back to our commentators, Gary Birtles and Gary Weaver.
Well, the Italian newspapers have been asking, where is the win? They may continue to ask that question if things don't change here. And it will add to the anxiety, albeit most of this Italy starting 11 won't face England next week. But that's one thing England can take from this, is if Italy don't win this, it will add to the anxiety in Italy.
It possibly will, but I don't think that will affect the players that we're not seeing tonight. They'll be jumping at the bit to get the tournament started, to get out there and prove that they're worthy of their inclusion in this squad and in the starting 11.
There's Ciro Immobile, 1 assist and 1 goal. Likewise, Lorenzo Insigne. Well, we mentioned they never do well in these friendlies leading up to tournaments. They drew with Haiti before last year's Confederations Cup. And back in 1994, Italy were famously beaten by a 4th division team weeks before heading to the USA, where, of course, they made the final. So you can't read too much into it. But Cesare Prandelli will be wanting more from his team in this second half, and he has the big guns up his sleeve should he need them. But let's take nothing away from this Fluminense team, who have played 9 games in the championship so far this season. They've also played the Rio State Championship as well. They've had a huge amount of games in a short space of time, plenty of travelling as well. The Brazilian League is on hold whilst the World Cup gets underway. But they have looked a good team tonight.
I've been very impressed with them. Just the fact that they play like a Brazilian team has to, really. They get the ball down, everybody's comfortable in possession. Centre-halves just bring it out from the back. They don't panic. They wait until there's a pass on. The 2 full-backs have just bomb forward every possible opportunity they can. They've caused all sorts of problems for Italy at the back.
There's Mattia Perin, whose error led to the 2nd goal from Fluminense. Yet to be capped, the goalkeeper of Genoa. They are a passionate lot, these Fluminense fans. The big rivals are Flamengo. But the nation will come together in a sporting sense to roar on Brazil in the next month. Brazil, the favourites to win the World Cup. Italy and England joint at the moment 25-1 to land a trophy.
There are so many teams in with a decent chance. Historically, European teams don't do well in South America.
Yeah, this is the 7th time that the World Cup will be held in South America. On the previous 6 occasions, the team from South America has walked off with the trophy. Early foul in the start of the second half by Abate on Chiellini.
It's a nice little turn. Abate just mistimes it.
Abate wasn't playing as often as he would have liked under Clarence Seedorf at Milan. His fortunes change next season. Immobile. There's Thiago Motta. That's Pirlo. Conker, the stars of the show in the first half. Gustavo. That's Bruno. Walters in the middle. Big shadow handball. Huge claim from the players and fans, but the referee not interested.
The referee would deem that as accidental. The home fans certainly don't.
Chiellini. There's Abate. Now Paletta. Won the FIFA Under-20 World Cup with Argentina, the same team as Messi and Aguero. Gabriel Paletta. Now he has the badge of the Azzurri on his chest. That's Volta! And that wasn't far away.
Italy again giving the ball away very, very cheaply. They conceded by giving the ball away in the first half, and they nearly do exactly the same again. It's given away cheaply, tries to take it early, catch the keeper unawares, and he nearly does that. Just comes up the outside of his foot, but sloppy again from Italy.
You just get the feeling that Fluminense can sense a famous victory here. It's a game that the fans have been looking forward to ever since it was announced. It's a huge honour for them to host Italy. They are making sure they grab the opportunity with both hands.
Of course, there's no pressure on them at all. They can go out and enjoy themselves because they are the underdogs. They're not expected to do well against a national team. The evidence we've seen tells you otherwise.
Domian looking for Insigne. Thiago Motta once more. Born in Brazil, represented the country in the Gold Cup back in 2003. Insigne.
In a game like this, we've seen very few bad tackles from Fluminense at all. They're a football inside. There's been no rough stuff. We watched the England game. There's a lot of rough stuff going on in that. So maybe Prandelli will say, right, perhaps I don't need to bring my big players on, but I could do because there's no real bad tackles flying around. Be interested to see what he does.
Offside against Abate. Well, Prandelli is a man with a really calm manner about him, doesn't get fazed by things, never too high, never too low when it comes to football. Knows there are 60 million critics back in Italy ready to tell him what they think.
He is just offside. Didn't need to be either. He was just on the move. Far too quickly. didn't look across the line.
It's one of the toughest jobs in world football, managing Italy. One of the most demanding.
I think you possibly say that about all the top teams, expected to do well. German manager, Spanish manager, English manager, Brazilian manager, Argentina's manager. They are the pressure jobs, but
Thiago Motta. Aquilani. There's Abate. There's Thiago Motta again, just in that half position between defensive midfielder and forming that three centre-halves when Italy at times have the ball. Cesare Prandelli does have that option of playing three at the back with Bonucci, Barzagli and Chiellini. With Buffon behind them, of course, the mean Juventus defence, if he wishes to do so.
Sometimes it's the nature of the opposition that might stop you doing it. I think because Fluminense have been so attack-minded, maybe not put it into practice as much as I'd like to have done.
Felipe, who's in the Fluminense goal, place of the injured Diego Cavalieri, wants to Liverpool. This is Giorgio, who could be in on that left foot of his. Immobile, poaching, scoring. Now can they hold on this time?
Well, that all came from Felipe. Talked about them wanting to play it out from the back. This time it catches them out. Gets played back to Felipe and his kick's awful. To get anywhere near the halfway line, a little bit of panic. But when it's played in here, they're in trouble. They know they're in trouble. It's a decent save low down, but there's only one man reacting there, Immobile. And he's doing his chances, no harm at all. They're expecting that to come back his way. Sign of a good striker. Keeper's made half decent save, tries to push it away from the danger area. A lot of Fluminense shirts there, but the one man in white reacts better than any of them. Gets himself a second goal.
What about a welcoming committee? Pirlo and Bonucci amongst them. But Immobile always on the move. And Italy back in front, 3-2. Where's this game going next?
Could be anything, couldn't it? Could have a 5-4 on the hands.
Well, Immobile is free here, could be in for the hat-trick. Cool, calm, calculated finish. There is ice in those veins.
Tell you what, he's made his job a lot easier. Sit down, big guns, you're not going on, we don't need you. What a finish this is. First half, they got caught offside just a few times. Very borderline decisions. Look how Archie's run there, brilliant. That's what I was talking about. Going backwards before you run forwards. And that is a class finish. Keeper comes out, closes him down, look at the movement there. Making his mind up now. Appeal for offside, never going to get it. And the outside of the right foot, absolutely fantastic finish. Quality.
1 minute, 19 seconds between those two strikes. It's a hat-trick for Ciro Immobile, the rising star of Italian football. And he could be in again here. Unsavagely to Insigne, and Fluminense are caving in. And suddenly Italy are enjoying themselves in Rio.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they're trying to give the gaffer a nudge, they're doing a real good job of it, the pair of them. Immobile, how unselfish yet again. He could have got himself another there. The way he finished for his hat-trick, you would have backed him to score another one there. But his mate is in a good position, but what a bad back pass that was. We talk about them playing out from the back. You can overdo it at times. Look, it's blind. Doesn't look. He's aware, Immobile. Again, look at that little glance there. So unselfish, plays his mate in, and another easy tap in. But you've got to be there to tap him in, as we said in the first half.
3 goals in 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Italy have shown their class. And Immobile's had a hand in all 5 goals. A hat-trick and 2 assists.
There might have been a few words at half-time from Prandelli. You need to up your game, up your performance. To get on the front foot.
There's Chiellini. Well, Fluminense don't know what's hit them.
No. It's not good for 6, understandably. Probably been their own worst enemy. Lost possession twice. And Italy, even if it's a second string, good enough to punish that.
They have been ruthless at the start of this second half. Ciro Immobile shining brightly again. That's why Borussia Dortmund have paid the money for him. They see him as Robert Lewandowski's replacement. Big boots to fill.
I think what we've seen from him so far, he's got all sorts of goals in his locker. Not a one-trick pony. The header was a cracker. That last one was superb. The hat-trick.
He has cost Borussia Dortmund £16 million, Ciro Immobile.
Well, I'll tell you what, England, Uruguay, Costa Rica will be sat watching this thinking, well, he might not be the first choice, but if he comes off the bench, he could hurt us, and to be right.
Giorgio.
Well, you're looking to give the manager a headache in terms of selection, and he's certainly got the manager going out to buy a few aspirins, because he will have a bit of a headache, because he's been very, very impressive, Immobile.
Changes on the way from Fluminense. Chiellini makes way. Along comes Biro. Just wonder how much fight is left now in this Fluminense team. They were terrific in the first half, but they've made errors and they've been punished in the second. And off goes Gustavo. Showed up well in the first half, some nice touches from him. Cristobal, the coach of Fluminense, just trying to steady the ship here, and also giving this squad players an opportunity to play in this game tonight against Italy. Volta, was he taken down? The referee says no.
Tell you what, first look, there looked to be contact. The referee was away from it. I think the first touch is good. Well, I think there's contact there. Why would you go down when you've got a half a chance of scoring? I think he just catches his hip there.
for Walter, for giving the referee a piece of his mind.
Well, he's unhappy. He feels he should have had a penalty. Certainly looked to be a little bit of contact there. Why would you go down when you create a little bit of an opening for yourself?
Now the moment we dread. Just a few changes for Italy. On comes Andrea Pirlo. I think that reception is for him. The man who brings his own ball to the game. The man who works hard at making this game look easy.
Class act. Coming to the end of his playing career, but still one of the best figures of passes you'll see in world football, still given the opportunity. You don't close him down, he will punish you.
On comes Mario Balotelli, Immobile's made way, likewise Insigne, the men who between them have scored the 5 goals for Italy tonight.
I'm sure he's not worried about his place in the team, Balotelli.
I don't think he does worry, does he?
Never gives that impression, does he? He's such a frustrating player, as we saw when he was in England. Bags of ability, but a little bit of baggage as well. The way he reacts, sulks. We saw in the Premier League on his day.
Barzagli on the pitch for Italy, and that's a good sign. He's had a fever, he's also had an ankle problem as well. That's why Ranocchia has remained with the squad. There's Marchisio.
Well, that could have been an interesting situation, just coming on. Easy to get wrong they are. You come charging out your goal.
Well, we've spoken about the standby list. Morante's in goal now for Italy. He also is on the standby list because of Sirigu's rib problem. We wondered whether the big guns will be brought on because Italy are out of sight now, but Cesare Prandelli has brought them on.
Must admit I'm a bit surprised by that.
Polinios with the cross. Pirlo. There's Conca. Oh, wonderful strike. No stopping that. This game is not done yet because Fluminense have pulled a goal right out of the top drawer.
What a cracker this is, by the way. It's a stunning strike. Welcome to the match. Goalkeeper comes on. Next thing, he's got to pick the ball out of the back of net because this happens. Turns beautifully. A low back lift just creates that power. It's a brilliant finish. Turns really well, gets whip on it, gets bend on it. No goalkeeper stopping that. You could question the defending. Could they have closed him down a little bit better? Yes, I think they could. Take nothing away from that strike. Brilliant.
Mateus Carvalho with a moment to remember for him. There's Biro.
Did he give the ball away there? That's very unlike him. First touch, puts it into touch. That's what you have to do when he's on the ball, though. You have to pressure him. You have to try and force him to make mistakes. If you don't, he'll pick passes all night long.
Well, that will be the key question for Roy Hodgson. What does he do with Andrea Pirlo? Wayne Rooney tried to get near him in the Euro 2012 match in the quarter-final. That didn't really work out for England.
I don't think you can put one man on him. You've just got to say, right, whoever's nearest to him, close him down. Because they will have young players in that squad, in that team, in that starting lineup, and they will close down quickly. didn't see a great deal in that, to be fair.
Balotelli in the middle. Now we're getting more of a look at what Italy will be like in Manaus against England on Saturday. De Rossi. There's Balotelli. Now Pirlo.
Anybody who thought this was going to be a tight, mean sort of game got it totally wrong. Been treated over the decades to fabulous defending from Italian teams. Very hard to break down, but 8 goals so far, and we've still got 20-odd minutes to go.
Fluminense with this free kick.
Not a great deal in that. Don't think that's a foul. The referee's getting a few wrong at the moment.
Conker with an interest in this, so too Gian. Quarter of this game to go, 8 goals already. Fluminense are right back in this, thanks to a beautiful strike from Carvalho. What's happening next then? Gian to take charge of this, and it was awkward for Morante.
Morante has to make the save. He took a deflection on the way through, but the stadium's alive again. Might just have snuck past the post, but you can't afford to take a chance there.
Pirlo taking charge.
Well, the problem for Prandelli now is if any of these players he's brought on get injured in the latter part of this game, then people will say, well, why did you bring them on? There's no need.
De Rossi in the way of that. He's the man who should play just in front of that back four against England. Giorgio and Morante easily fielding it.
There's a bit of confusion there, 2 balls on the pitch.
Nice feet again from Bruno. Golinios. There's Conker. Pirlo. There he goes. Andrea Pirlo driving the game. Incidentally, the raft of changes we saw from Italy totaled 9 in the end.
I don't think you can get a better introduction to the World Cup beginning than this we've seen so far. We won't see as many mistakes, I don't think, as we've seen in this game. Defending as bad as we've seen at times, but it's been a cracker.
Gian. Marquinhos. Volta. Again, cause for concern at the back for Italy.
Again, far too easy.
There's Biro. Now it's Conca. They're just not walking away from this.
You can't get your breath, can you? You cannot take your eyes off this game. It's been absolutely enthralling for me. They're loving it. I'm loving it. It's been an absolute belter. Good first touch. Takes it early again. That only just scrapes over the bar. Keeper's worried. Scrambling across there. Wouldn't have got near it, I don't think, had it gone under the bar.
There's Balotelli, who has had a slight hamstring problem and given away there by De Sciglio. Gian. There's Bruno.
I've not seen a great deal of him this second half, have we, Bruno?
There's the other full-back, Carlinhos.
Well, it would have been very easy for Fluminense to just say, right, roll over. We're playing against the Italian national team. We've conceded 3 goals. We've done well, but they haven't. They bounced back and they're taking the game again to Italy.
And this now is what they wanted. This is what the fans came to see. The full strength Italy team.
I just think they've shown the other teams in Italy's group the way to maybe unsettle Italy. Just take the game to them. Be brave.
Any kind of injury will be a real concern for Cesare Prandelli. Cassano getting back to his feet. These players were devastated when Ricardo Montalivo's World Cup dream was snatched away in a blink of an eye at Craven Cottage. Andrea Pirlo. Pirlo again, plenty of space to pick out that pass, and that's one thing you can't do with Pirlo. You have to try and get tight to him.
Just makes it look so easy, doesn't he? He's almost lazy the way he plays that ball in. It's unlucky with the touch there. But Zidane used to make the game look easy. Riquelme for Argentina used to make the game look easy. Iniesta, Xavi.
This is Marquinhos. There to greet him was Felipe.
Nice decent goalkeeping in the end. Spotted the danger, the flag hadn't gone up.
Well, Fluminense did have a big part to play in the history of the Brazilian national team. Brazil's first ever game as a national team was played on Fluminense soil 100 years ago against Exeter. And Brazil won 2-0, and to commemorate that, 100 years on, Fluminense will face Exeter later this summer.
2-0?
2-0.
My word. What a performance that must have been from Exeter.
There's Conca. Bruno has managed to dig the cross out. Biro. Good handling there from Morante.
Good goalkeeping from Morante. But again, it's a concern how easy it was. Fluminense to get behind Italy, get the ball in the box. There, look at the space there. Ball's just lifted to that back post. It's a decent header back as well. Intelligent ball. It was excellent goalkeeping that stopped maybe a fourth goal going in for the home team.
Cesare Prandelli says he's never seen Mario Balotelli work so hard as he does these days. A bit more confidence and composure about him these days in every part of his life as well. Prandelli seems to know which buttons to press when it comes to Mario Balotelli to get the best out of him.
Look how lazy this is. I mean, you have to look across the line there. That is just totally unprofessional for me. Well, we did see certain antics from Mario Balotelli when he was in England, didn't we? I wondered at times where he was coming from. But the manager said he's improved all that. Fair play to him.
He was Milan's top scorer with 18 goals in the season just finished. Some questions as to whether he will be at Milan next season.
Well, the season they've had, Milan, dear me. You mentioned them, how many points they finished behind Juventus. That's not acceptable for a team with their history.
Balotelli's endeavour has won that free kick.
I think the Fluminense players are saying he's going down a tad too easy. Well, there, he is pulled there, the shirt goes. Then he finally does go down easy, but there was a foul committed. The shirt was pulled. Saying there, I've got you in my pocket there. Is that what he's trying to say to Balotelli?
Not quite, I don't think. So what does Andrea Pirlo have up his sleeve here? There's that spray being used to mark the 10 yards away from the ball, which we will see at the World Cup.
That's one of the most intelligent things. I was banging on about that last season. Makes perfect sense.
Andrea Pirlo nudged in gently. Was looking for Bonucci.
Everybody gets fed up of seeing Wolves inch forward and stopped. Brilliant free kicks being taken because it's an art form. The free kick to get a ball over the wall quickly.
Pirlo with the corner. There's Volta. It's a big man to try and shake off the ball. Leaving a little bit on Giorgio.
The referee saying calm it down. Plays it and he is late. And that normally would have been a yellow card, but because it's a warm-up game, the referee goes on the lenient side.
Italy now with, as you can see, Cassano being the link man to Balotelli. Pirlo playing just behind him. De Rossi sitting in front of the back four. This is pretty much what they will do against England. No Verratti on the pitch. This isn't far away from what they will start with in Manaus. Not Colinios' best moment.
Far from it. The crowd agreeing with your sentiments exactly. But we've only got 10 minutes to go and the tempo has not dropped in this game. You mentioned the temperature early on, you said 29 degrees. Just shows the fitness levels, how they've improved over the years. The work that goes into getting players to the peak
Candreva of Lazio will be coming on shortly for Italy. Giorgio. That's Bruno. Giorgio.
Well, they're just giving everything they've got. Fluminense.
There's Balotelli. Just a wonderful chance against Luxembourg on Wednesday. Looking to out-trick Fabrizio, who can see some foul.
Again, the crowd not impressed. Certainly looked to be contact. Going to take his man on. Then leg comes out, clearly a foul. There, leg comes out now, catches his ankle, and he swears he got the ball.
The leading scorer in qualification for the World Cup finals with 5 goals, Balotelli. Italy were unbeaten in their qualifying group, finished 6 points ahead of Denmark and got the job done with 2 games to spare.
Well, they're the worrying moments for a coach, aren't they? Balotelli's still not happy. I'd just take him off.
Surely not another change. Andrea Pirlo with eyes on this. Pirlo trying to disguise it, but Felipe was right behind him.
Not one of his greatest attempts.
It'll be such a shame when he leaves the international stage, as he's planning to do after the World Cup finals, Andrea Pirlo. That's a moment to remember for Giorgio as he made his way past Pirlo. Well, there's Balotelli. Now Cassano. Just behind Candreva.
You just wonder at 35 how that humidity in that first game against England is going to affect Pirlo.
Well, the legs get slower, but the brain gets quicker for Andrea Pirlo. For Pirlo. It's 10 changes now to the Italy team. These are the names that will try and carry the hopes of a nation. Verratti with his most confident piece of goalkeeping. Now Balotelli leading the charge. Biro. Chiellini away from De Giglio, but not for long as De Giglio snapped in. And Conca was just caught there by Pirlo. Biro once more away from De Giglio. Dangerous ball! An audacious flick from Carvalho, and Conca fires well wide.
Well, the goalkeeper gets lucky here. Didn't know a lot about this. Brilliant little bit of skill there. Again, far too easy there. Just drift past him as he's not there. Look at this for improvisation. To be fair, the goalkeeper comes across, follows the ball. Gets his little bit of luck by doing that. Fabulous bit of improvisation, so unlucky not to narrow the deficit to 1.
Almost 2 world-class goals for Carvalho tonight. Gum is the player down here. And injuries aren't quite as pressing for Fluminense because they have 2 weeks off after this, and then they go to a training camp to get ready for the resumption of their season after the World Cup.
mentioned about Italy, but Fluminense, players out there might be realising that a lot of people might be watching this game and putting themselves in a shop window to get a good move away into Europe, maybe. There's been, you know, 2 or 3 performances out there that have been quite impressive.
Players of Italy as kids, kicking a ball around the sun-soaked streets of their country. This is what they dreamed of, being part of a World Cup and wearing that badge on their chest and that shirt resting on their shoulders. The nation kicking every ball with them, living and breathing every single second with them. When Italy play, families come together, they eat together, they gather around the TV. The 11 players out there and the millions back at home become one. They will believe they can win this. It all starts in Manaus, a 4-hour flight away from Rio, against England on Saturday. Been a great night for the goalkeepers, as the scoreline would suggest.
When you see goalkeepers doing things like that as a striker, you love that, because they do tend to be too clever, and they have been known to give silly goals away.
Confirmation that Goom has gone off, and Wellington is on. Balotelli. Andrea Pirlo. There's Cassano.
There we see the best of Balotelli.
Come off there for Bira.
Did everything right, but the final little trick.
They certainly haven't been afraid to express themselves tonight, Fluminense. And they were really, the pressure was off. They've called it a festival of football here.
As I said earlier, that could just tweak the other coaches or managers in the group and say, right, that's the way to go at them, play with no fear.
Ineos. Reminder that Ciro Immobile, who's since left the pitch, scored a hat-trick for Italy tonight. He also set up both of Insignia's goals. Fluminense gave Italy quite a problem in the first half. And then Italy scored 3 goals in just over 2 minutes at the start of the second, and it was pretty much game over.
They gifted Italy a couple of those, didn't they? Still got to finish them.
Additional minutes and tempers just beginning to boil over. Overall then, what will England have learned from this tonight, would you say?
Not a great deal, I don't think. First half especially. They might have learned that if you do play players who have got attacking intent, which England have in abundance with the young players, yeah, but just might unsettle them a little bit. He's being brave enough to do that.
Giorgio. There's Carlinhos, one of the scorers for Fluminense tonight. Goal against the four-time world champions Italy, one that they can never take away from him. Bruno, who was impressive in the first half.
Well, possibly his worst moment by a distance of the night so far.
Stopped on his tracks by Barzagli. Andrea just leaned out of the way. He did start against Luxembourg just behind Balotelli on Wednesday.
That's an easy one for the assistant now. Will have a real good idea of the starting lineup he'll face from Italy, but I think you look at the players who would be on the bench, who could come on and hurt, and there's been a couple of those.
They could finish it in style here, but Cassano couldn't get to it. There's Pirlo. Now De Rossi. Balotelli.
He struggled with that one, didn't he?
That's looking to try and put himself around. Barzagli.
Well, entertainment value, 10 out of 10 this. Didn't know what to expect, but we've been pleasantly surprised.
Giorgio. Bonucci. Balotelli. Candreva's on his way. He's got 12 goals in midfield this season for Lazio, Candreva. Let's come back to him here. Look to try and play in Balotelli.
The referee's given the fans the money's worth.
Italy win in the state of Rio. Next up, it's England in Manaus. It is down to business. The world is ready, and the doors are about to open for the greatest show on earth.